Drogba indirdi ceza alan Snyder. Snyder gol! Allah'ım gol! Muslera! Fernando Muslera! Golün adı Muslera! Salih, Drogba! This is incredible!
Merhaba. How are all you guys doing? It's been a long time. My champion Cubs, we are back with another episode of The Lion's Den. It's episode 59, and we are here to talk. Right, boys? Joining me today is Salih from the Netherlands. Salih, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. It's been a whole month, I think, even longer than that. Some exciting news that happened, of course. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do it earlier due to, again, circumstances, work. Most of the rest of the squad also isn't here. But glad to be back. A different take, because we'll be mostly talking about news, obviously, of what happened during these past 4 weeks. But I'm doing, besides that, doing fine, man.
We'll be talking about news, about the friendlies that we have played lately, and all the good stuff. But like you said, we haven't been around because people weren't just available, but we want to make that up for you guys, all right? We're back from our vacations, and we're ready to get down to business. And who better to know about business than our resident businessman, Yasin from New York. How you doing, Yasin?
Good, man. I respect the transition there. It was nice. And yeah, I guess, I don't know if an apology is necessary, but it has been a little bit of time since we've been on the podcast. So I know people are asking often, when's the next episode? We've been wanting to do it, as the guys mentioned. You know, we've had a lot of guys on vacation, and you know, then it becomes a question of quality versus quantity. Obviously, consistency is important on a podcast. We understand that, and we think we did a pretty good job for a lot of time since we started a year and a half ago. But it's the summer now; it's the off season. People are on breaks, and there's really not too much going on with the club. We've obviously had a couple of friendlies. You know, some transfers have started, but it's been nice. I don't know about you guys, but personally, to kind of take my mind off Galatasaray a little bit. You know, obviously we're following the transfer news. We're always talking about it, but to talk about it a little bit less than usual for me has been nice mentally. It's been a crazy season last year. Obviously, with all the breaks, you know, we had the World Cup, we had unfortunately the earthquake, and lots of breaks, but it's just been very chaotic, lots of stress with TFF. And for me, guys, it's been nice to not have to worry about that just for a couple weeks. So I'm enjoying the off season. I can say that for sure. But I'm glad to talk about Galatasaray today. I look forward to it. There's a lot of things going on. Maybe not too crazy, but there are moving parts. So looking forward to talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, instead of just making one episode per week, we figured we'd consolidate a lot of the things that happened, you know, for the past month or so into one episode as much as we can to give you guys the most, you know, information as possible. Because if you think about it, in Turkey, the transfer season, the off season is one of the most chaotic, you know, events there is in the world because there's so many false news. So we want to give you the best news, the most up-to-date news, the most accurate news. And boys, since we've been talking about news, do we want to start talking about the news, you know, before we get into the friendlies?
For sure.
Yes, let's do that.
Do you guys think we should start with maybe the official transfers that have happened so far?
Yes, let's start with the departure.
Okay. I have the details in front of me, so I'll kind of just mention that. First was
All right.
Our good old friend Mustafa Mohamed. He was on loan at Nantes. We loaned him out for a season with an option to purchase, and they triggered that on the very last day for an amount of 5.75 million euros. So he's gone. Mohamed is no longer our player. We don't have to worry about him coming back. We don't have to discuss if he's going to be good or not. Next to Icardi, behind Icardi, none of that is in discussion anymore. Mohamed is gone. we did profit from him. I actually don't have the exact numbers on how much we made in
It's
profit.
probably
but
not a lot.
Nah, I doubt it.
we did we did ended up buying him in USD for amount less. We sold him in euros for a greater amount, so there definitely is profit there. But to your point, guys, it's not a lot. So if it was a lot, I probably would have had a detailed here. So that's Mustafa Mohammed. We really need strikers, guys. We'll get that into that very soon.
Are you guys happy
up
about
next is-
Mustafa? Before we go on, like, are you guys happy he's gone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be
Okay.
honest, yeah. I mean,
He's not progressive enough.
I've always liked.
No, joking.
I've always liked Mustafa. I think he has a good skill set. He's not an incredibly great striker by any means, and I think the fans were on the fence about him, whether he stay or not. He lacked the quality sometimes. I think he was in an unfortunate situation. A lot of the time he was here. We discussed it many times in the past. Was he used properly? Was he utilized? Was there fair treatment within the club and the striker, mandates that we had, who's playing first, second, who's starting, who's coming off the bench, the minutes that he did get off the bench. And, to play a Galatasaray under its worst time in a long time and then kind of come back and see a very different Galatasaray in which we have today with a different coach.
Right.
It's a little bit difficult to kind of get the same vibe. You as a board, as a club, you kind of risk, that player coming back with maybe negative feelings. Naturally. And
To your point there, he didn't want to come back to Turkey. So if there are people that are saying, "Oh, why didn't we just keep him?" Because 5.75 is not actually a lot of money, especially for France. And but the thing was, Mustafa wanted to leave, guys.
Exactly.
Just so if you have that thought in your heads, he didn't want to stay.
He tried to
Because
leave
I would have
before.
actually
tried to leave before, right?
right.
During the
I
winter
think
period,
so.
and it failed.
Exactly. Yeah. So if there are people thinking, "Oh, why didn't we just keep him instead of selling him when we need more strikers?" Considering that Gomes is no longer with us and such, Icardi's still not here, and our only striker is Badish. But yeah, no, it's unfortunate that it didn't work out because we had such high hopes for Mustafa when he came here. But I guess it's going to open some leeway to new prospects.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Salih, if you have anything else to add.
No, just in general, mixed feelings too. Like, of course, you want it to work, especially because, usually we're used to getting these 30-plus-year-olds, on loan. That's what we were used to the previous seasons. We actually found a player in Egypt, of all places, which would have been nice if it worked out because that would have increased our scope. Maybe would have done more business in Egypt since they know that, we're a good club to arrive to and from there to transfer to a bigger league. But like mentioned before, he wanted to leave before anyway. And in the end,
Yeah, he
happened.
wants France.
Yeah, he wanted
France.
France before too, specifically. And I think we've mentioned it once before. Like, yes, he was switched around quite often between Cagne, Mustafa, and Gomes. But in the end, if Gomes, like a 37-year-old, starts over you, I mean, maybe you just aren't it, right? Like, maybe during training, you just aren't showing enough to be our main striker. So, I mean, in the end, it didn't work. But did we really lose a lot of money? No, because we did make a small profit. So I'm content with it. Just, we had hopes,
And he had
but
a
it didn't
great
work out.
season at Nantes too. I wish it wasn't such a low offer or buyout clause.
Like 10
Anyway.
million would be nicer or something,
Yeah, like 8, 9 something. When you see other people selling their players for so much more than they're worth, and you sell your players for like peanuts. I guess we're just never been the club that sells people. We've always been the one that wins a lot of things and make our money that way. So we're not used to it.
Yeah, what a horrible feeling, right?
Right,
Winning a lot,
exactly.
but not being able to sell. Shit.
Yeah, not being selling champions. Anyway, Yasin, all right, take us to the next thing on the news, brother.
Second and the last official transfer so far is Kaan Ayhan. A familiar face for us, and also maybe controversial as well.
Summit hates this transfer.
Yeah. Oh wait, why did I? Yeah. Okay. So this is kind of silly on my part. I was thinking of this as like a new transfer. It's actually just the triggering. My mind kind of got lost there for a second. My apologies. But we had Kaan Ayhan on loan. Obviously, Summit didn't like it as you just mentioned, but I guess there was some sort of clause in there that kind of made it official. Maybe he reached a certain amount of games, or maybe I don't know. Do you guys know? Did we purposely trigger this clause? I'm not sure, but we officially bought Kaan Ayhan for 2.8 million. He is our player, and I think he signed a 3-year deal. I'm not actually 100% sure.
I don't get this. I don't get this transfer. Emin's doing great, and I actually agree with Samet. I don't know. I guess it's okay as long as this like foreign rule is still here, which is liable to change because you don't know in Turkey. But I feel like we still paid a little too much. I don't know, lads.
Yeah, it is with Emin Bayram discussions up there. Metehan also is kind of coming up in the works, but I think kind of comes back to our discussions from last season and when we actually bought him. He provides flexibility. We didn't get to see a lot of it last season when he did join, but that's because the players that we had in front of him were performing very well. And I think for the most part, we avoided suspensions, we avoided injuries where we really needed him.
Right.
Who's to say that maybe he'll be a very good substitute going forward? Obviously, now there's discussions
Not
of...
Summit.
Maybe not Summit, but there's discussions of the yabancı kural, the foreigner limit changing too, so that impacts the value of this transfer and what how good it actually is for what we paid. So a lot of TBDs, but 2.8 million.
It's not too bad, honestly. Like
it's not
a
too
Turk,
bad,
right?
really.
It's all right. It's all right.
And like his salary, I don't think is even that high. I think it's below $1 million from what I remember. So I honestly don't think it's too bad. I do get the frustration a bit that of course we rather see like youth prospects go through the ranks and becoming getting more playing time. But on the other hand,
we're never gonna profit off of Khan. Like it's GG's, right? Like this is the last stop.
That's true, but I think it's just due to the fact that the ambition for us is to play in Europe. We'll get into that later because we have to play some qualifying rounds. But if we do play in Europe, that for both competitions, it might get a bit more hectic, and therefore having a Turk who can maybe play like on a Saturday against a bit lower league of a team, resting Abdülkerim, stuff like that, can come in handy. So I'm not too against this. I still do get it that he's not the most wow player, but 2.8 mil, I mean, it's fine. Fine. It's a Turk, unfortunately, so you'll be expensive anyway. That's my take on it.
Yeah, if this rule wasn't in place, I don't think we would ever gotten him in the first place. But
I don't think so either.
Anyway, on to the next.
So that's
item.
Our sales. We did make a couple purchases since then. Again, more familiar faces. At least Halil. So
Another
Halil Dervishoğlu from Brentford, a Dutch Turk, Karadeniz Turk.
Another favorite of Summit.
Yep.
If you've been listening to the podcast a while, you'll know why I mentioned those specific references. But we paid 500K in transfer fees to Brentford, which honestly, guys, it's not a whole lot. So I like that side of it. It's a 4-year deal with Halil, and it looks like his wages will be 20 million TL a year. And I specifically mentioned TL because that's how they wrote it out. I think there's some details in there that kind of say the wages might increase depending on, the translation of the currencies. If the TL tanks, I'm sure he'll kind of get, he'll figure out his way around that still. He won't get paid peanuts just because the TL shrunk. But it equates to about 700K euros a year. So
for now.
Halil,
right?
Yeah. What'd you say, Salih?
I said for now.
For now.
You never know with the currency, so.
Well, I think my understanding, Salih, is that it's going to pretty much stay around there. Like even if the TL drops, they'll still make it so that he gets basically 700K euros a year, and it's just going to be paid in TL. You know what I mean? Like if the TL gets worse, maybe instead of paying 20 million TL, they'll pay 25 million TL, but it still comes to the 700K euros.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Which might be a lot actually for a bench player or a rotation player. And again, guys, it comes back to the whole Turkish yabancı kuralı thing. What do you guys think about this transfer?
Well,
you want to start, Emre, or Should I?
Yeah, sure. I'll just put a quick input. I prefer this transfer over at least Khan. In a way, here's why. Here's my reason. He's 23 still, right? So he still has some resale value. And under Okan Buruk, who knows, Halil might find himself again. Just like, one of his old disciples, Vedat Muric, right? Under Okan Buruk became a whole different player when he was at Rize. Why can't it happen with Halil Dervişoğlu, right? You never know. So I'm not completely against this transfer. It's just his performances lately is the only question mark. And the other question mark is he going to actually find time to be played? That's the only other question mark I have. Unless they change the foreign limit again to make it where, it's 9+2 or whatever, completely free from now on. That's my only concern. Otherwise, I don't really find this transfer to be that expensive. Still, Halil is a Premier League player. Not that he performed like one. It's still something there for us to try to put and invest time into because it might bear fruit. You never know. And he really wanted to come here because we actually got into a bidding war basically with Beşiktaş where they paid for his, plane ticket, but only for him to come to us. So that he wants to be
That was
here.
funny. That was funny.
Yeah?
Yeah. Stole the transfer indeed. Halil. I'm going to see it in two ways, right? If we do it based on performance and what we've seen, because we loaned him twice to our club before already. And how do you say it again? Did he perform really well? I don't think so. He shows I think good technical ability. I don't think he's bad in that department. It's just he's not a striker, right? He's like a forward. I think he can play up front of an attacking midfielder or the left or right wing, but just really up top being the target man, whatever. He's just really not that. So in terms of just excitement as a player itself, I would give it a 5 or a 4 out of 10. I don't really I'm not too out with him. However, and I think Yasin can agree, being our businessman in this chat, right? From a financial perspective, I think this is a really good deal. 500,000 for Halil, which is a Turkish player, young, like Emre mentioned before, I think is an absolute steal. Compare him to another youngster we got that comes to the top of my mind is Barış Alper. We paid 1.5 million for him. And if you just compare to what he did before, the league that he came from before, and Halil, you could question why did we then pay 1.5 for him compared to the 500k here? Also, his wages, like mentioned before, too, is only 700k, which means he earns less than a Yunus, for example, or who else comes to mind? Yusuf, stuff like that. I think he's really cheap, and if it doesn't even work, we can still sell him probably for some fee. It's almost impossible to not make a profit on him if it doesn't work out, because we've seen it before, right? We were linked to other players in the past before. One of which was Kaan Ayhan a few years back, and we didn't have the 500k for him, stuff like that. Or we were just shy of 800k. 500k is just really low. I think it's a good deal. I just hope, like Emre said before, that Okan can somehow turn him around. And so far with the transfers that we've seen, Okan is capable of doing that. So I have full faith in him. That'll find some time.
Yeah, and you said Okan, that's why I'm kind of butting in here. I want to make sure that people know Okan has a pretty good track record of bringing out performances out of strikers in his teams, and it's not just the superstar strikers. Obviously, Okan Buruk has played with, smaller clubs, Anadolu teams, and a striker, think of Vedat Murici, right? He went to Fenerbahçe sold him for quite a bit of money. But Vedat shined under Okan Buruk in the past at Rizespor. And before that, Vedat was an average striker. And he's not the only example. There's tons of strikers.
Can I reinforce you?
Go for it.
Lads, this man won the Turkish Cup with Mudat Çelik, okay? Mudat. He was playing 4-4-2 at Akhisar, and Mudat was one of his strikers. Let that sink in, and he beat Fenerbahçe with Mudat. Mudat Çelik, right? What was his last name? Was it Mudat?
Something? Çelik.
I think it was
Çelik.
Çelik.
It is Çelik. Yeah, it is
okay,
Çelik.
so my memory is not deceiving me. Great. So that's one example, prime example.
Sure, and that's why I have a little bit more comfort with this transfer. Halil comes knowing the club as well. He's familiar with the training facilities, the players. He was only here, last year, not that long ago, right? So he's familiar with a lot of the guys that are on the team now. Sasha Bowie, Berkan, the guys from a year ago. So that's good. He's very close friends with Kerem, and Kerem is going to be our captain next year, one of our captains. So having that relationship is really important. He's a Milli Takım player, or was a Milli Takım player, and he's still only, 23, 24 years old. So a lot can change. Strikers tend to kind of hit their prime maybe a little bit later than some other players. And he's versatile as well. It's hard to really pinpoint what his exact position is. Some say he's a striker. Some say he's a winger. Most people say he sits behind the striker in like a false nine position, which I think is more appropriate for him. But let's see what happens. I think financially, as the guy said, it's not that risky of a transfer. So that's that. I think we can move on. Just for the sake of time, moving on to Angelino or Angelino is probably the right way to say it.
Or Angelino.
You really think so? There's no J in it, though.
Angelino.
Angelino, right? Angelino. I think that's
now.
the way it
now
is.
I'm curious. I'm gonna look it up.
I saw a video where he tells people how to say his name, and he's like, "You guys can call me Angelino." He's like, because I know it's difficult to say, but the correct way to say it is Angelino. I think that's what he said. For the name pronunciation Nazis out there, just a little bit of
The grammar Nazis.
He's looking at me.
But guys, this is an exciting transfer for sure. He plays left back. He has experience in RB Leipzig, I believe it is, in Manchester City. He's a well-known name in Europe, to be honest, and the transfer fee that we paid for him is actually considered a bargain by some. And what is that exactly? So we're loaning him first year, 1.5 million euro loan fee. But per a lot of sources, the option to buy him is most likely going to be triggered automatically, probably based on caps, the amount of games he plays. And that's going to be 6 million euros to buy him. So in total, we can wrap Angelino up by next season for 7.5 million euros. And you might say that's a lot of money for a left back, but guys, left back is a position that we've had trouble for many years. And to have somebody on the left side that can contribute to the attack and put in crosses, which is what Angelino is known for, he's a very attack-minded left back. That's going to be huge for Icardi or whoever is playing striker up top, to have a back that can actually dish in some nice crosses, because correct me if I'm wrong, guys, we haven't had that last year and the years before. But yeah, just to top it off before I get your opinions on it, his wages are going to be 2.3 million a year. Well, the first year, I assume it's going to be the same if we tie him up for the future as well. So, Emre, Salih, what do you guys think about this guy?
These are like one of those transfers which I could never really imagine a few years back. Look, he's of course... No, I was almost going to say he's of course not a world star, but like compared to the Super League, this guy is miles above. And from what I've read online too, heading into subreddits, right? Leipzig fan seems kind of confused on why he went, as in he was not a bad player for them. It's just last season, I forgot what other play they got, but they decided to loan him away to Hoffenheim, where he also performed. And now he just wants to join us. I think the reason is just for him. He wants to have regular playing time, which is always good to know. Basically, he just wants to perform and just play more again, right? And I'm really looking forward to this. Yes, he's very attacking minded, and yes, we've heard that his defensive capabilities might not be as good. But honestly, the way we play so far, we demand that our left and right backs just bomb forward. That's how we play mostly. And that's exactly the profile that this guy has. So I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait to see him play. And that's what I had to say on him. Really brief, but looking forward to it.
Yeah, no. So if we take our past season, how many assists did we get from our wing backs? Not many. It's mainly our wingers that really contributed to the assist pile, right? Also our midfield in a sense as well. Like Kerem had double-digit assists, but none of our wingbacks achieved that number. So when you put that into perspective, Angelino has achieved double-digit assist numbers for the past 3 seasons. So it's going to be a pretty massive improvement in our attack. And I'm really excited for this. And the one issue people seem to have with him, though, is his defensive capabilities. But, that's something that can be improved with the team dynamics. Again, this team had one of the best defensive records in the past, decade or so, right? And was it because Kazımcan was a superb defender? Was Dubois a superb defender? Was Adekugbe a superb defender? Was Emre Taşdemir a superb defender? No, but I forgot he existed. But even him,
you got a top assist. That's why.
To be fair, his defense is better than his offense, so I can't really talk about that, right? I can't really give him a lot of flack for that. But what I'm trying to say is this is a pretty big transfer, and one of the craziest points is Hoffenheim didn't trigger his release clause, which was in I think 20 million, and then Leipzig, I don't know if this news was true. I never really confirmed it, but the president's it's almost as if he was waiting his whole life to play at Galatasaray. Was that true? Is that true?
I actually didn't hear that, but it's in line with the news that we've read. The guy was just he wanted to come to Galatasaray.
Only us.
The rumor is from multiple reputable sources is Angelino wants to go to Galatasaray. That is what he was waiting for, and I think that's why we were able to get him for the amount that we got him. Is because his contract was expiring, I think, and they didn't really have a plan for him, I believe. So when the player wants to go somewhere and he makes it known, and the team doesn't have any plans to keep him around, then what choice do you have, right? So that worked out for us.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't really say anything. It's when the unit team, the board said we want to build a Champions League level team. They were not kidding, and they did get a really good player. So you guys are happy with this transfer, I assume? Yes.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Yep.
I think it works out with Kazımcan too, guys. I know some people are not so happy because it's gonna take away minutes from Kazımcan, but Kazımcan is 19, 20 years old, and he's improving. He for sure has potential, but it's not a player that you can count on to carry you through a 40-50 game season, depending on how far you get through Europe and with the Turkish Cup as well. And it's good experience too, right? Kazımcan, I think, is a pretty decent left back, and he can improve in his attacking. He's a very calm player, right? I think on the pitch he doesn't play like your average 20-year-old. He's very calm. He knows how to get in and around the pitch. He knows how to get up, but I think he can learn a lot from a very experienced veteran type left back like Angelino. And Angelino is Spanish, from Spain. There's a little bit of a connection going on there with Sergio as well. He'll speak the same language as a lot of the other guys that's on the team as well. Argentinians, Uruguayans, they'll understand one another. So that's a huge plus in the chemistry section of our analysis, I suppose. But I'm very excited, man.
Sergio is Portuguese, by by the way.
Oh, yeah, that's Spanish. Right. That's right.
Yeah,
just American moment.
It was Mate that was Spanish. No, it's not. I just forgot.
Hey, listen, I know it. Don't you talk shit about me.
Yeah.
I was just thinking maybe he learned Spanish somewhere at a club that I can't remember. But then I was like,
you're right.
It's like Roma, etc. He never went to Spain. No reason for him to learn Spanish, but similar, very similar. So maybe
Italian. Maybe he learned some Italian.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, this guy's 26 years old. Did anybody mention that yet? I forgot to mention that.
No, he's pretty young.
Dude, that is awesome. He can play a solid 5-6 years past today. We can still make money off of this guy too. That's really important. We're buying him for a pretty good fee of 7.5 million total. And to a lot of European football fans, that's a bargain. So can you imagine that this guy plays really well for the next year, 2 or 3 in Europe, Europa League, Champions League? He has all his assists for Galatasaray. Who's to say that we can't sell him for at least what we bought him for? So yeah, I'm excited in that way. And the last thing that I want to mention is this guy has played for so many different clubs every single season, like throughout his career. Like he's going from one club to another, always on loan. Clubs are paying transfer fees for him. Like in 2018, PSV paid 5.5 million for him. The next year, Man City bought him for 12 million. They loaned him for 2 million. And then Man City sold him for 18 million in 2021 to RB Leipzig. Last season, he was loaned out. So there is interest. There is a market for him. And finally, he's at a club where he can maybe even consider home, right? If he gets along with his current teammates, I think he's just going to be mentally a lot happier. He's going to feel stable, knowing that his future's intact. He's with a club that's always aiming for the championship. That's a really good environment for a player of his quality to shine even more than he's been doing so far. So I'm very excited. I look forward to it.
Yeah, same, bro.
The cool thing about it as well is I was just thinking about it, right? He only wants Galatasaray, and it's pretty odd that he just wants us. But again, like you said before, it came from Fabrizio, etc. Could it be that maybe, I just thought of it very randomly in my head. He comes originally from Deportivo. And Deportivo in Spain are known as Turcos, the Turks, basically. Maybe some weird connection that he had from back then over here. I don't know. Could be very far-fetched theory.
Didn't Emre Çolak go there? Deportivos? Or is that another team?
Could be. There's so many Spanish teams that I don't know too well.
Remember. Yeah.
But Deportivo, the Turks, basically. Really cool.
That is interesting, though.
It's an insult, of course, towards them from rivals, but still. Anyway.
Yeah, he was at Deportivo. I was right.
He was there,
he
right?
went there. Yes,
then he went to City Youth, but from there, he went to a lot of places. Even played in New York, I think.
Yeah, for a season. Yeah, he was loaned to New York City FC for a year. That's when they had like a lot of players. Not a lot, but when New York City FC was bought from Man City and they were
he went to Intercity. In CF Intercity. Not NYCFC. Where are you guys getting your information? Jesus.
Really? Okay. Transfer Market says New York City.
Emre Çolak?
No, bro. We're talking about Angelino right now.
Oh my, bro! I'm talking about Emre Çolak.
Emre Çolak.
I know you were mentioning him, but then Salih was
okay. So yeah. So yeah, NYCFC, right. No, he did go there because of City.
Yeah.
They're the parent team, but yeah, no, you guys make some good points.
Can't wait, man.
That's our official transfers, guys. I guess we could probably move on to rumors.
Let's go to the creme of the creme, bro. The news everyone wants to hear.
Go to the here we go. But what isn't official yet?
Yeah, it's here we go. So, guys, Manuel Icardi. Everybody's
Manuel.
favorite player.
Yasin, I love you, bro, but every single time, Manuel.
What did I say?
You said Manuel, like a manual car.
What's it?
Mauro Icardi.
No, but is it? No, his middle name is Emmanuel, bro. What do you mean?
Okay.
Mauro and Manuel.
You said
like Manuel.
But you know why I said that? I fucked this up. But there's a lot of Turkish players that go Mauro, Emmanuel, Icardi, and then
Manuel.
And then I just skipped the Mauro part. You know what? I'm passing this on to Emre. I already fucked this up. Emre, tell us what's going on with Icardi, because I already messed this up.
Here we go.
All right. Well, like Salih put it, Mr. Fabrizio, Galatasaray's newest transfer this season, apparently, has, here we go, basically confirming that Mauro Icardi will be with Galatasaray. So, according to Fabrizio, we started negotiations with PSG. The price that they were asking for was 25 million euros. But Adnan Timur was like, nah, I'll give you 10. And apparently they agreed terms. And so the fee apparently is around 10 million euros. And rumor has it that he will be earning about the same amount of money, half of which, or a little less than half, will be coming from sponsors. So, boys, he was offered, what was the rumor was he was offered 25, 30 million euros for at least 2-3 years by Al Tawoun, but he accepted the offer from us. Can we say he's our second Metin Oktay? Lads.
Ooh.
I mean, that's a
bit,
big one.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say.
I'm sure some of our
I'm
older
gonna get some
listeners-
flack.
Yeah, I'm sure some of our older listeners, especially, would be like, "What are you talking about? Like the guy's been here for a year."
Send
But-
the location.
Good cut up.
Oh.
Don't hurt me.
But the hype is insane, man. The hype is insane, man. Like this guy is what we've been waiting for, right? We signed him on loan last season. We knew it was a last day signing, I believe. It was an opportunity to bring a big name because a lot of the other European transfer markets were closed. He was not on PSG's radar for next season. Adding to him saw an opportunity. We needed a striker, and we brought Icardi. With that came some potential baggage that was apparently overhyped. Emre explained it all when we brought him on. He explained what he was coming with. Maybe it was exaggerated, maybe it wasn't, but this guy scored a shit ton of goals for us. This guy set up a shit ton of goals for us. This guy essentially, over the course of one season, became a captain for us. I don't think anything's official yet, but every single player in the team, the coaches, the assistant coaches, all the journalists that are there 24/7, they all say the same thing. Icardi is a leader on and off the pitch for this team. And that is what we need going forward. There's a lot to be said, but guys, we got Icardi. Like, Emma, I'm sure you're excited about this one.
Bro, I am super excited. I just wish there was an official statement from the club and a cop. Because, like, anything happen in this world, I'm a pretty pessimistic person when it comes to these things. Because this is life. You never know. But the sheer amount of people that are saying that it's been confirmed is kind of reassuring in a way. But, dude, I love Icardi, man. I love him. That's why I like asked to do his, transfer story. And you remember when I said out of every 3 shots, he gets a goal? He actually finished with that statistic for the Super League. So this guy is a monster. He's a beast. He will be probably one of the best strikers to ever set foot. I mean, he already set foot, but be an official player for Galatasaray that we get to keep. You know how insane that is? The amount of pain and struggle we went through these past 4 or 5 years just to find a striker is insurmountable to what we're going to be paying for Icardi. I think it's still a steal. Adrian Timmer's working miracles. If he actually gets this done and written on paper and he's wearing our kit very soon, this is, I don't know what to say. Bravo, Adrian Timmer, bravo. The board, bravo, Dusan Özbek. Like, the glow up, bro, the glow up.
I wish negotiations always went that simple. How can you go from 25 to like 10? That's like that's such a drop off.
It's because Icardi, bro, he's like, he put his stance down apparently. He says, I want to go to Galatasaray, right? He could have had, like, Al Tawun apparently were prepared to pay the 25 million euro release clause. But he's like, no, I want to go to Galatasaray, right? I mean, his wages is probably going to be one of the highest in Super League history, official, right? Because we don't know what every other club has paid their players because they don't really officially announce like we do most times. But even then, it's still going to be what? A third of what Al Tawun are, offering. And that's still not for nothing, right?
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
I'm happy about this transfer, man. It's like he's still young for a striker, bro. Lewandowski went to Barca at what age? What was it? Like, was he 33, 34? Yeah. Right. And they paid, I don't think they paid anything, but they pay him a lot of money yearly. And that's Barca. They pay everyone a lot of money. That's probably one of the reasons they like screw themselves over. But, anyhow, I think
really
that this is a great transfer. It brings a team together. Everyone loved him. Torreira was like, please stay. He was begging Icardi to stay. And he's probably going to get his wish. And it's probably going to make Torreira happier, by extension. It'll keep him happy and motivated to stay and fight with Galatasaray. So it benefits all of us.
You couldn't have worded more perfectly, especially that part where if you compare it again to the last, 5-6 years and the players and like Icardi now, it's insane the difference. It really is. This guy just lit the Super League on fire last year. We all had our doubts, like let's not lie. In the beginning before he came, like we all knew that there's a world-class player in him. But going from PSG to Galatasaray, of course, you can understand that it can be seen as a drop-off, right? But no, Icardi showed up. Whenever he played, and mind you, he didn't even play the full complete season. Like, didn't play the full. How many games did we have again? 37, I think.
Yeah, he was like missing for like the first 10, basically.
And even then, he had, I believe, almost 30 plus or 30 goal contributions, which is like really crazy. I'm really happy. And this is again one of those transfers that reminds me of a quote by Eden Timur, of course paraphrasing, but he basically wants to make Galatasaray a top 10 club in the world, right? He wants to really set us on stage. And how do you do that? By getting in proper quality players. Again, comparing this 10 million for Icardi or to, again, not his fault, but Jagne a few years back for 13
million.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like, how can you even do that? Like, we should be partly ashamed of ourselves.
Salih, it's not even just the performance on the field. When was the last player that performed in the Super League that had an impact this big? When you have kids that are not even Galatasaray fans, every time they're scoring on the streets, they're going Icardi, putting their hands behind their ears. Mm-hmm. When's the last time you've seen that? When's the last time you've seen anything like that? The amount of influence Icardi put in this league, in Turkey, is actually insurmountable to anything that anyone has ever done. When you have Simge, the singer of Aşkın Olayım, complaining that when someone writes Aşkın Olayım, Icardi pops up before she does, right? That's how insane this transfer is. And not to mention Icardi, bro, this man pulled up at the most crucial times. That's one of the biggest issues we've had in a long time. The last, 8 games, he scored 8 games in a row, bro, if I'm not mistaken. And there weren't like goals after, being up 3-0, 4-0. No, these were goals that brought us the win. Like, you can't, yeah.
Sorry that I cut you off, but also like all the derbiler that we had. He scored in every
all the
single one, right?
Bro. Every single one, even the one we lost against Beşiktaş. He scored in every single one. That is huge, man. You don't understand how big that is. Like, that's money well spent, bro. Imagine the sales, imagine the recognition. Like, I'm seeing people on Twitter going like, wow, look at the team Galatasaray is building. This is one team to watch. You're bringing recognition. You're bringing more influence to other players that might want to join, seeing Icardi, players like Torreira, Mertens, Zaniolo. I'm pretty sure Zaniolo saw Icardi and was like, all right, if he's there, I'm going to go too. He could probably, use me or something like that. Not to mention Mancini is a mensch, because it came out in a recent interview. Mancini told him, yo, go to Galatasaray. So I love Mancini. I'm always going to support Mancini. But yeah, no, I think I've said enough to make my case about Icardi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like you said before, it's very good for the snowball effect, right? Like, from this, we're going to hopefully build on further, just keep on growing and growing till we do become like a top 10 club. That's of course the dream. We're still a long way to go, but this is a very, very good start.
And Eden Timur is not delusional. He said this isn't something that's going to happen overnight. He says it's got a compound, right? 3-4 years. I remember him giving a reference to the 96 to 2000 team, right? It's something that's got to be built up upon. So right now he's doing a great job. Hopefully we can repeat that success that we brought in the late 90s. But yeah, and apart from that, Yasin, if you have anything else to add, we could go on.
No, I think you guys did a great job, and we'll be talking about Icardi plenty. It's still not even official yet, so when it does become official in the next week or two, I'm sure we'll have more things to say then as well. So
we should mention we should mention this. We forgot to mention it because Icardi is just so awesome.
Yenge.
Yeah, the Yenge Wanda Nara has been hospitalized recently. We don't know exactly what the situation is, and it's probably one of the reasons why the transfer is kind of taking longer than expected. But again, people are saying that it's going to go through. Just Icardi asked for a little bit more time to, wrap the situation up. And according to the latest news, her dad had visited Wanda Nara, and apparently people are saying that she's doing better and it's nothing too serious. It's just her blood test results came a little, it was like not as expected, I should say. And so that's why she's in the hospital right now, just to get, situated. But apart from that, yeah, we'll update you guys as we go along. So
yeah. I think it would only be appropriate to now discuss Our next striker, the rumored striker. It's not a here we go situation. It's not basically done, but it is heavily rumored, and that is Cedric Bakambu. If that name sounds familiar to some of you, it's probably because you were watching the Super League not too long ago when Bursaspor was around. So Cedric Bakambu is a familiar face to this league and probably to a lot of the coaches, including Okan Buruk, because he played for Bursaspor between 2015 and 2018. This is a guy that we're looking for as a second striker, right? We need to get this first cleared out. We need a second striker because our strikers right now.
May I correct you, by the way, really quick?
Yes, go for it, please.
He played at Bursa between 2014 and 15. He didn't play that long.
That's what it was. Okay,
Yep.
okay. I was looking at the wrong dates. That's fine. All right, so he played for a year before being sold for 7.5. So he came to Bursaspor, tore it up for a year, and then Villarreal and La Liga was like, "Hey, I want that guy," and they paid 7.5 million for him, which is not something that you really see either, right? Like a mid-table team player does really well, and just after one season they get sold for 7.5 million, and that's in 2015, by the way, before all this crazy inflation and whatnot. So that was actually a lot of money at the time. But Cedric Bakambu, guys, we need a second striker. I think we need to kind of talk about that too, right? Like we have Icardi coming in, we have Barış Alper Yılmaz, Gomis is gone, Halil is here, but Halil, you can really argue if he's a striker or a second striker, a false nine or a winger. So he's not really a striker, right?
Right.
Icardi is going to have suspensions. He's going to have times he needs a break, right? We're going to be playing Europe as well. We need somebody that we can really count on in that second striker role that might have to be on the bench a lot of the time. So who are you going to find that's like good, who's not going to cost an arm and leg, who is going to accept the role of a bench player, but who's also going to come on and give it their all whenever they're on the field, and preferably somebody who knows the league. To me, Cedric Bakambu checks off a lot of the boxes because the rumor is a 2-year deal, and he's what, 32 years old, so he's still got a lot of energy left in him. He actually recently signed for Al Nassr, a Saudi club, and apparently he's not happy there. He didn't like what he saw. And he's negotiating his way out of it. And Al Nassr didn't pay transfer fee. So I think the idea, guys, is he's going to say, look, I agreed on all these wages with you over the next 1, 2, 3, 4 years, but I don't want to be here. Let me go. I'm not going to cause issue. You already didn't pay anything for me. So just let me go and I'll be happy because I don't want to be here. And I think that's where we stand right now. He's trying to negotiate his way out of the club. And apparently, according to Jakub Çınar, we've already agreed with him, in terms of the deal, how much he's going to get paid, the years he's going to be here. I'm very excited for this, guys. I know it's not a super sexy name. I understand it's kind of out of the blue. This guy has bounced his way around China, La Liga. He played in France. He played in I think the Greek league as well, their Super League, and now he was going to Al Nassr, the Saudi league, and all of a sudden, he's coming to us. What do you guys think about this?
I don't really have an opinion on him. I'm happy that we're getting someone rather than no one. So Saad, if you know more, take it away, brother.
Not that I necessarily know too much more. All I do remember is, wasn't he also rumored to Fener 1 or 2 years ago? I remember him being linked to Fener actually before, but yeah, for some reason probably fell through. Also, I guess if he comes cheap, I don't mind it too much. Yes, he's an experienced striker, and he played in many places, and as far as I remember, he did perform in the places that he went to. However, again, due to the foreign rule, I just wonder, wasn't it maybe better to get a Turkish striker somewhere? I know Umut Nair, for example, went to Fener, but was it maybe possible to get him instead or something like that? Just due to the foreign limit again. Because
we have Barış Alper, bro.
Yeah,
that's also true, of course. But if you want experience, right? That's what I mean. If you want experience,
how much experience does Umut Nair have over?
Yeah, Bakambu,
Barış. Or Bakambu, yeah.
Exactly. I don't think it's even comparable, Salih, because yes, Umut Nair is a milli takım player. he's done decently well for the Anadolu teams in the league, but is it a guy that you can really say, okay, Icardi, Icardi's on the bench today, he's hurt, he's suspended, now we need a striker to start. Is Umut Nayir a guy that you can trust to start when you need 3 points, no matter who the team is?
Maybe.
For me, that's a tough ask. Like, sure, that opens up the foreigner spot for somebody else on the field, but is that really somebody you can go into the season and be like, look, you are a second striker? To me, he hasn't proven enough for that. Umut Nayir is your perfect third option striker. If for me, you can argue, okay, instead of Halil, you should have get Umut Nayir. Then I would be like, okay, that makes sense. You can argue for Halil as well, but that's more of a comp for me. But Bakambu is proven. Like, I'm just going to list out the goals for you guys, right, over the last few seasons. So last year, he in the Greek league, right, he played total comps. So he played a little bit in League One and, the Greek league, their actual, Super League, as well as their cups and playoffs, whatever. In 40 games, he scored 18 goals. In the 22 league games, he scored 13 goals. So that's pretty good. That's last season. Going back one more season to that, when he was in France, he played 12 league games. So I guess he didn't get a lot of playing time at Marseille, but he scored 4 goals. Before that, real quick, he played 13 games in China. He scored 5 goals. So I guess he hasn't been playing too many games. So I guess coming here as a second option is not going to be that much of a change for him. But it's somebody that we can kind of trust to get on and score goals for us. So I don't know.
The reason I say it is just only look. Again, he went to Fener, so of course I don't like him anymore. But he did score plenty of goals, I think, for Ümraniye. And as a Turk striker, I was just thinking, why not? Again, I'm not against the Bakambu deal. It's not official anyway, even though. Official, right? But I'm not against it. I'm just saying, maybe we could have also just gone for a Turkish option.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going for this.
This is the same thing like with Icardi. I don't think anyone will disagree with Icardi. I think with Cedric, I can see people disagreeing a bit with it.
Thinking about it like this, though, I don't think we're going for a Turkish striker anymore because we have a ton of Turkish players at this point for rotation, and so we're going for quality over quantity at this point, right? So I'd rather have my strikers experienced rather than, let's say my left back or my right back, because we have a few quality players that we can use as rotation to make up for, not having another Turkish striker when we have Halil and Barış. So.
Barış. Olcan too.
Right,
don't forget him. Not joking.
Oh, I forgot his back.
Stop.
Anyway.
All right, let's move on from that, just for the sake of time. We talked about our strikers. I think the next big hot topic is Paredes, right, guys? Any one of you guys want to talk about that specifically?
I mean, I don't know if the transfer is going to go through. This is one that's on my books as it's probably not going to happen because Paredes himself is probably not as interested. Maybe it might change after Icardi comes through, but it doesn't seem like he wants to be here that bad. And so I'm not going to put too much thought into this transfer. It's a good if we get him, if we don't get him type of transfer for me at this point.
Yeah, that's fair, honestly. Just to give a little bit of background, actually. So he's a central midfielder. I think he is more of a defensive midfielder than an attacking one. So keep that in mind when we already have Torreira, we have Sergio. Lots of rumors are that Sergio is going to go to the bench and we're looking for a player better than him that can be in the starting lineup. There's rumors that we might bring in a player for his spot and then maybe sell Sergio. A lot of empty rumors, and to Emre's point, I think it's best to just sit down and see what's going on over the next couple weeks to a couple months. But the rumors are all over the place, guys. Some people are saying that we agreed with PSG for 6.5 million euros. PSG is totally okay, and now we're just waiting for Paredes to give us the yes or no. Some rumors are saying the opposite, that Paredes is okayed us and he's just waiting for us to give the green light. Some people are saying that he's going to get paid 2.5 million euros a year, similar to, I believe, Torreira. Some people are saying with bonuses, he's going to get paid 4.5 million a year. So But these rumors are really all over the place. Will he provide quality to this team? Absolutely. He just recently won the World Cup. He is Argentinian. You know, he would have that instant connection with Icardi. I believe they played together at PSG before as well. So that's even more chemistry bonus points for us. But does he want to play for us? I think that's the main question. Obviously, not every single player is going to be pleading to play for us like maybe Angelino and Icardi was. But sometimes when you want to build quality, you have to accept the reality that, okay, this player had maybe better options in top 5 leagues. But he came to us because he got paid a little bit more. I think that might be the reality in the case of Paredes. But Salih, what do you think about him? I mean, do you have any experience watching him as the PSG fan? I know you are.
Oh my god. Okay, we're not gonna talk about that. I'm not a PSG fan. I just have some hoodies. That's it. Okay, from what I read,
hoodies.
Yeah, I have like a few. I have like an uncle who works at Nike, so I can get some of those stuff for a discount. Her neyse, Paredes. Kind of confusing, like Emre said before, right? Like you see some sources who say we agreed with him, some who say you don't. In my books, I also start to think it takes a bit too long because this was a rumor that started much earlier compared to others too. And while we finished business with some other players, like for example Halil out of the blue, Paredes is still ongoing. And the reason can be either that he indeed doesn't really, it's not as keen on joining us, or it could also be that I've read that Lazio also is looking for Paredes. The problem with Lazio, however, just like I think Yasin said just before, is their fee seems to be too low, what they're offering. So I think PSG and the player are just waiting out, hoping a battle will start between clubs. Then whoever pays more, that's the club he'll join.
Yeah, he wants to go to Italy. He wants to live there. So he's waiting on Lazio.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, we want Paredes because potentially, I mean, not that I hope it doesn't happen, but potentially Torreira might also go to Italy, right? So, and I think the same club even, Lazio.
Nah, screw that. Torreira is not going
yeah, he's
anywhere. I don't even want to talk about
again, look, but again, you never know. I also don't think he'll go.
That's true.
I know it's a rumor, but so we want Paredes because Torreira might be leaving to Lazio, and Lazio want Paredes because they just want him, right? So it's kind of a weird situation. On the player itself, again, mixed. Mainly because during the World Cup, of course, he pissed me off. I'm from Netherlands, and he was kind of a doggy player for us. He should have been sent off anyway. The thing what I read about him too, one thing that concerns me is he seems to be like technically again pretty good, but on the lazier side. Again, maybe not a problem because we have a workhorse in Torreira. We might be cleaning up after him. And another thing which, strangely enough, might be making a bit more optimistic is like PSG fans want to get rid of Icardi and Paredes because apparently character-wise they don't seem to be as good. But as we can see with Okan and our club, players with problems, that's what we do. That's what we thrive on. We just turn them around. They become men, right? So
Floria Su, Floria Water.
The Floria Water. So that's one thing that I again wonder if he does come, are we going to see that part of him? And so far with our recent record, I don't think so. I think we'll actually turn him around and become a, proper player. So
I don't know, man. This seems like the same issue we had with Grilic last year, where we just waited and just didn't happen. And you know what happened? We got an even better player, Torreira.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So for me, I'm not stressed about Paredes accepting or not accepting, because there's always an alternative out there that could potentially be even better than the last. So that's my take on it.
We'll find something, probably. The thing is, just like last season, right? Our transfer season actually is still going on while the rest of Europe has already closed down. So maybe in that 1 week or was it 1 or 2 week period, we might find some Fursa transfer, right? Some gem that we can get for cheap.
So Paredes, potential, no potential. We'll see in the upcoming days. One familiar face that we're also linked with is Rashica, our man.
Our army knife. Swiss army knife.
Our Swiss army knife. The workhorse on the wings.
Yeah, Rashid's an interesting situation right now, right? He was on loan. We didn't have the option to buy him, so he went right back to Norwich City, and he played very well for us. And that makes it difficult for us to buy him when we don't have a clause to trigger, right? That is friendly for us. Rumor is his club wants 10 million euros. That is a lot of money. That is a lot of money that I'm not sure if we're willing to spend just yet. The rumors are kind of floating between us willing to pay like 5, 6, maybe 7 million. His club seem to be adamant about requesting the 10 million. He does want to come to Galatasaray. That again is a situation that we're getting used to, which is a great feeling when players of high quality want to come back or come to us to begin with. I hope it works out, guys. There's nothing concrete about it. I think we're just going to play the waiting game at this point because it's a Premier League club or a championship club. Championship club. And they probably are a little bit more difficult to deal with. I'm sure he has clubs interested in him from within the championship or even the Premier League. He was a player of quality before he came to Galatasaray. He just happened to display it again when he was with us. So he is a marketable player. Let's see what happens. I would love him. I'm sure a lot of fans would love him, but at that price point, it is a bit difficult considering what kind of players we can get for similar prices, right? Look, we got Icardi for 10. We got Angelino for 6, 6.5, 7, whatever it is. And 10 million for Rashica is questionable,
a bit
right?
steep.
So,
yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'll push back on that. Even though you guys say 10 million is a lot, I would pay 7 for him, eyes closed, because you're not gonna find someone like Rashica for that cheap, that like working as hard as him and as consistent as him, and that can play on both wings and won't make a fuss when he's on the bench, right?
Yeah.
I really hope this goes through, and I think it will go through because Rashica really wants to come to Galatasaray. Someone who, on our championship celebrations picked a song that was made by a relative of Ali Sami Yen's, right? Definitely wants to come to us. And another fact is apparently rumor has it Fenerbahce is also in for this transfer, which I just think they're trying to inflate the price. Yeah,
wasn't expecting that.
Apparently, they offered 7 million, which is the highest offer so far. But Rashica is like adamant about coming to us, so we're just playing time right now. He doesn't want to stay at Norwich, and I've seen Norwich fans saying that they want to get rid of him as well. So it's looking like Rashica will be with us, but it'll take some time. There's no rush for Rashica just yet because we still have Zaniolo that's doing perfectly fine there at the moment, but we need more, competition there. So yeah. You guys have anything else to add?
No.
Besides price, honestly, no, not much. I liked him as a player. Again, another flexible player who can actually play on both wings. Again, I don't know who did the homework on him back then, but I believe his natural position was actually the left, right? What I remember.
Yes,
yes. We employ him on the
He's
right.
right-footed.
Mm-hmm. I like him. I like him a lot. His look going forward was already he already did that well, but just his work rate, right? The way he comes back to defend as well. That's what I really admired about him. He goes all in for the team. It's just the price, man. Just 10 mil. I feel like Yasin mentioned before, and I take his word for granted as him being a financial manager. He knows the sensible stuff. You can probably get better players for that price.
I highly, highly doubt that.
Look. Another thing that we just have to really mention. Rashica, if you buy him, are you buying him as a starter or a bench player? Or okay, most likely he's going to be a rotation player. You just spent 15 million on Zaniolo. He is arguably the player with better potential. We've seen what he's done in the few minutes he's played. And then you have the Yabancı Kuralı and our captain Kerem on the other side. Rashica can play the number 10 sometimes. He can play on either wing sometimes. But do you spend 10 million on a player that's going to be a rotation player? He might start 20, 30 games next season. I don't know. But going into the season, do you think Rashica is going to be in the plan to be our number 1 left or right winger? to me, the answer is probably no, given that we're also looking for more midfielders and potentially a number 10. We have Zaniolo already. We have Kerem. It's tough for me. I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be 10 mil, but for 6 mil, let's say they wrap it up for 6 mil. Don't you think it's worth it to have someone like Rashica?
For sure. I thought I said this before too in prior episode. Like 6-7 million, you wrap that up and you buy him immediately because he's still of a decent age and whatnot. But to cave into their ass of paying 10 mil,
right,
for me is like, it makes you feel a little bit sour and uncomfortable about it. Even though in reality it's just a couple mil difference, right? You say 7 mil, 10 mil, what's the difference? He's still a very good player. You buy him. Okay.
Maybe for you, right? But for us peasants, that's the case. Go on.
If Galatasaray spends 10 million on him, yeah, people are going to get a little upset in the beginning, but nobody's going to question his quality later. That is for sure, Emre. I agree with you.
And you could also think about like this. In the Champions League, there is no foreign rule, so he can play on the left wing. You have Zaniolo on the right wing, and or you can do like a 4-4-2 and have Zaniolo in the front along with Icardi and have Rashica on the right. See, there is multiple variations to where you can use this guy. So it's just like Salih said, he's a Swiss Army knife at this point, and it's better to have him because Kerem also really doesn't have any competition on the left wing as well. So you kind of need him for that alone.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he might start to degrade, and who are you going to use? No one.
On the other hand, we do have like more players though that can play. I think on the left or right. Like we still have Yusuf Demir. I know he doesn't play a lot or barely.
He's probably getting loaned out, bro. Let's be real, bro.
Yeah.
But you also have Morutsan, who came back from a successful loan spell.
Morutsan's a right winger.
Yeah, and well, Rashica's most likely going to play on the
left
right.
winger.
I know he's left winger, but we'll probably most likely employ him on the right. Just like I said before.
Yunus, you got Barış Alper. Like you have a lot of players that can kind of play
the right,
interchangeably.
left, the right wing is just stacked right now. You have Yunus, you have Barış, you have Zaniolo, but you have no one on the left wing, bro. That's why I'm saying Rashica is naturally a left winger. Like if you put him there, he won't really struggle, right? Whereas if you put Yunus there, he's gonna be like out of form there. Like
he's already struggling right now.
Yes, exactly. He's not doing good as like a right winger. He's gonna struggle even more as a left wing. Like you can't put Morutsan there either. So like wherever you look at it from, this just makes the most sense. Rashica, and he knows the league. He's capable of playing in Okan Buruk's system. So it's like we should pounce on it a little bit more, aggressively, because then you never know, he might have a change of heart, and we don't really want to have that issue where we need to find another winger to incorporate into this team when you have a really good capable wing. And also here's another fact, he, like you said, he's a really good defender. Having him on the left wing will probably help Angelino with his defensive issues. So there's also that there's a lot of good facets for him to come for us. There's a lot of good reasons for him to come to us.
Yeah, last year, like even though we didn't have Angelino last year, you did see that the left wing usually was our more exposed wing, because Kerem doesn't track back as much, which I can understand. And we had either Kazımcan or whoever on the left. I do get the point of employing him on the left. It's just, if you look at the fee, and I guess in terms of priorities, is he the highest priority? I would say in that case, then maybe
for me, he's a priority. To be honest,
Emre, I know you're big on your having a playmaking goal scorer number 10. Do you think spending 10 mil on a quality number 10 is more important, or spending 10 million on Rashica is more important? If you had to pick one,
depends on who the number 10 is, right?
But let's say it's a accurately, marketable 10 million euro player. Also consider how we've been spending our money, right? You got a player of Icardi's quality for 10 mil. Maybe that's an outlier. You got Angelino for
right now, okay. Yeah, well, all right. Obviously, number 10 is probably the most crucial, right?
Exactly.
But then for me, it would be Rashica. Because I'm by the mind of keeping what you had before that was successful in place. Like you want to keep your board as steady as it is, right? You don't want to move the Jenga pieces around, because then you might have a little bit of tension or issues within the club. That's one of the reasons why I want Mertens to stay as well. Not because he was like an amazing player, but he really brought the team together, and having that good vibe in the team is crucial, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I'm a fan of keeping players that have performed well within the team and are happy within the team. Happy team, happy life, right? Happy wife, happy life. Happy team, happy life.
Yes,
So,
for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
But no, number 10, Dybala. Nah, that's never
That
happening.
would be dream.
Emre
cool.
is saying that every week until it happens, and hey, it might happen.
I'm going to
man.
speak it into existence, pal.
Exactly. Yeah, that's. I mean, there's other rumors, Emre, but I think like that covers the main one.
We've had some friendly, so let's get a little bit into that.
Yeah.
Put our thoughts into what we think about how the team has been progressing so far. What you guys think about Okan Buruk and how he's employed his, new team, like not new team, but like what he's done so far. So our recent friendly started with Hull City, which ended in a 3-4 loss.
Crazy.
Well, yeah, then we played Kishvarda, I don't know how to pronounce it, which ended in a 2-0 victory with us. And we played Osherwijn, I don't know how to pronounce it either, which ended 1-1. And then our most recent game, Zakvar, which wasn't streamed, unfortunately, so we couldn't really watch it and give you guys an accurate analyzation of it. But that game also ended in a 4-2 victory for us. So let's start with Hull City. Let's just get some quick thoughts and whatnot. So Hull City, we had goals by Emin Bayram, Berkan Kutlu, and Kaan Ayhan. So what did you guys think of the games? Our first game, our first season, preseason friendly. What did you guys think about it?
I'll
let you start.
What? Go ahead, Salih. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I mean, I was gonna say for our first game of a preseason, it was damn good. Like our starting 11 was not. It didn't comprise all our usual starters, but it had some bigger names in it, mixed with some younger talent, some of our bench players from last season. We brought a lot of energy to the game from minute one, and that is what I love to see. It was incredibly high press. Everybody was pressing as a unit together. You had Berkan pressing, you had Torreira pressing, I believe he was playing. And the youngsters, they did their thing. Emin Bayram got the start. He scored. Berkan, who doesn't usually score, scored. There was just a lot of involvement from a lot of the players. And that's not something that you usually see that early in preseason. And to me, that's just a nice change of pace from what we're used to with our prior coaches and unit teams and whatever. Okan Buruk means business. It looks like he is continuing with his mindset of high press as a team. And if we can get that, worked out to an even better degree and everybody's on the same page even more than last year, I think we're going to be a very difficult team to face. So to see that was great. We lost 4-3, but if you guys watch the game, they scored like 3 goals in a matter of like 5-6 minutes in the second half when we put on a bunch of like 16, 17, and 18-year-olds. Obviously, Okan Buruk wants to see everybody during the preseason camp. It's not competitive, so he gave a lot of minutes to the younger guys. We kind of just collapsed all at once. They scored a bunch of goals and we lost, but I think it was a very exciting game, and I felt good coming out of it. What do you guys think?
Not too much to add, honestly. Like for our first game, because it was kind of more difficult for me to watch. I think I was busy with work or whatever. But for our first game of the season, yes, we started very like attacking brightly. I was like, oh goddamn, right? They weren't doing nothing during this break. Like they came back really fit, and that's good to see, right? It's just the second half, but that's again normal. After you start subbing out like your entire team, we start to collapse a bit, and at the end, like you said, within those 3-4 minutes, we concede a lot. But look, these friendlies are either for just testing out tactics or just to check fitness, etc. And on that front, I'm content. Looks good for a first game. And after that, a few more followed, of course. And we'll talk about that in a bit too. But first, Emre, what did you think of the game?
So what did I think?
Just quickly. Because it's a friendly in the end, right? So
No, there's actually a lot to take out from this. Let me piece it down one by one. First of all, this team is playing this kind of pressing attack with like basically no. All right, the only starters that were in this game was Torreira, Mertens, and basically Kazımcan, right? Everyone else are basically bench players or players that were returning, like Çikaldao, for example, and Batuhan Şen, right? And your defense comprised of Emin Bayram and Kaan Ayhan, so it's not the greatest defense. One thing I've noticed is that I think Okan Buruk is going to embrace 4-4-2 a lot more this season, because what I've noticed was that he saw how well 4-4-2 worked against Fenerbahçe, for example. He had Barış Alper Yılmaz up top with Icardi, and it worked wonders. We completely deleted them from the field that game. And I think Okan Buruk saw like a spark, like a little tingle in his back. He's like, yo, I think I'm onto something here. And you can tell because whole city were absolutely like surprised, shocked. They're like, how are we getting this? Like, we're getting demolished, lads. I remember seeing a tweet on Twitter, a guy saying, bro, this is a Champions League level team, bro. But no, this was basically B team, bro. We had like no one besides, Torreira and Mertens again. And we were playing this type of pressing attack. And it ended 3-4, like you guys said. We subbed out people, but I think one of the most important pieces to the puzzle was Torreira. And Torreira unfortunately got injured in this game, and he won't be back. I don't know when, but you could tell how important Torreira is for this team. He brings his team together. He is the force that equivalently lets us press the way we press and put this much dominance on the field. And without Torreira, you can tell how much of a difference it is. Because Misho, when he came, it was Misho, right? When he came on, if I recall. Right, Misho came on, and you can just see the drastic difference of our defending, our pressing, when Torreira is not on this field.
Yeah, it went from forward aggressive or forward defending to just sitting in your own half, kind of.
Exactly. So it's probably one of the reasons why Hull City were able to finally breathe when, Torreira came off. I can't really fault Okan Buruk for that, and because a lot of people did, criticize him. But at the end of the day, guys, this is a friendly.
Bro, that's crazy, though. It's a friendly. Come on.
Right. This is to gauge your players. When are you going to use... Because damned if he does, damned if he doesn't, right? There will always be people that say, oh, this is a friendly. Why won't you play any of the youngsters? And then you'll go and see people saying, why are you putting all these youngsters in? Bro, like I said, damn if you do, damn if you don't. What I would have probably done is kind of have it a little bit mixed, not take everyone off at the same time. But again, like most of the people that were in the camp was, the youngins, right? What are you going to do? How are you supposed to balance it? You can't have Icardi come on the second half if he was here. Angelino wasn't here. Zaniolo wasn't here. So people need to give a little bit more patience. I'd rather lose all our friendlies because that's when Galatasaray shines, bro. When we lose it's a totem, bro. When we lose or tie our friendlies. So let's be a little bit more optimistic, lads. But yeah, for the most part, I like the way we pressed. It shows that this team is really the philosophy is high press, quick play, and you see that despite not having the full A squad, it's ingrained. It's becoming a philosophy within the club, right? A system, so to say. So we finally have our system that Galatasaray will be known for.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you guys have nothing else to add, we go to Kishvarda. So
I mean, personally, I'd like to just kind of group these all together just for the sake of time, if that's okay with you guys. I mean, we can talk about what stood out in each of the games if we want, but I'm just going to kind of run through the next 3 games.
Well, the last game we couldn't even watch.
Yeah, okay.
It also came out of the blue. All of a sudden I see on Instagram or Twitter, hey, we have a friend. I was like, wait, what? Because the previous 3 plus Sturm Graz were announced already that we would have those. But this Kazakh or whatever, just out of nowhere.
Yeah,
right.
That's true. Go ahead, Emre. I just wanted to mention we should try to be a little bit quicker. There's a lot of questions that we need to get to as well.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
Well, I unfortunately missed the Kishvarda game. I couldn't make it to that game, but I did watch the Austria Wien game. Austria Wien. Someone needs to help me out with that pronunciation. But again, this goes back to what we were saying. This team has a pretty decent philosophy going. I don't recall the first 30 minutes, but
It was a hectic game, man.
one of the people that really stood out for me, and it's been, I've been really, putting my thoughts heavily in a negative way on, was Barışar Yilmaz. But under Okan Buruk, this kid has started to flourish. And where did he flourish? Where I said he would flourish, as the striker. This kid is not a winger. He is a striker. And boy, is he starting to strike.
Mm-hmm.
He is the guy that scored in that game. And that game, we actually missed a ton of chances, man. That's one game we were actually missing Icardi. We played really well. Dude, I really liked the way we played that game. I don't know if you guys would agree. Our midfield was not our usual midfield, but again, the way we played out the back, our midfield was, who was it? Misha, Berkan, and Yusuf Demir. Even though Yusuf Demir was not really that good, you can see that you could put anyone in this midfield or in this system, and it will work because the philosophy is there. Again, I'm not trying to toot Okan Buruk's horn that much, right? Still ended in a 1-1 draw. But besides the point, we did play pretty well that game. I don't know if you guys would agree with me on that, but I felt like we played pretty well, even though it ended 1-1. We missed a ton of chances. We also had some of the boys back, too, from our defense. Bowie, Nelson, and Apo was playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I quickly just wanted to say, like, compared to Hull City, where I would say that the first half was, like, really good, and then we fell off. These other two matches, and the one we couldn't watch, I can't comment, of course, but against Austria and Kizvarda, in general, we played, like, much better, like, throughout the whole match. I wouldn't say there was, like, particularly one half where we, like, completely fell off or whatever. It was much more consistent, which I enjoyed a lot. And Barış, like you said before, like, hey, bro, some people on Twitter, have been comparing him to Mbappe, maybe a far away shout. But... No, but we've said it before, right? Like, as a striker, I don't know. I like the way he plays. He's a physical,
right,
annoying player who drops, off his shoulder, and I like him as striker. I think he's good, and he's improving game by game. I know it's a friendly again, but long may it continue. Because at first, I think we all were a bit doubting, or when he came on, we were like, not Barış again. He's gonna overcommit or try to dribble or not pass or stuff like that. But as a striker, you don't, need to worry too much about the playmaking part. You just need to be a killer up front. And so far, I really like him at that. Suits him much more.
You know who else? I didn't, point this out, but Kerem's also been pretty good that first half. I really liked the way Kerem was playing. You can see he's slowly maturing into his role. Like he's when I say by that, he's way more confident about moving up, about taking the ball, distributing the ball. He's like accepted that he is a captain of this team now. He might be the second captain, but he is a captain. And he almost scored and he almost assisted. I don't know if you guys remember that backheel pass he gave to Sasha Bowie. That was pretty, like, Kerem is really, really going up there. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten a lot of offers yet, but good, because I think he's going to make a presence in the Champions League, or if we don't, hopefully we get to the Champions League, but if we don't, Europa League, I think he's going to make a good presence there. Sure. And I have a question for you guys. Here's an experiment, a thought experiment. Let's say we don't get a number 10, but we get a number 8 that's really, he's a workhorse and can distribute balls pretty well, and we start playing 4-4-2 and have Barış Alper and hopefully Icardi in the front. Would you guys want that? Would you guys be okay with that?
No. I'm just thinking about it. Like, basically just comes down to, do you care more about the fact that you have a certain system in place that you always want to enforce, or are you more flexible and change based on, like, opposition? like playing with a traditional 10 is not necessarily as normal nowadays anyway. So
Right,
is it
exactly.
really a must? Like all teams obviously try to copy like City. And do City really play with a 10? No, they play with like two, what do you call it? Just two advanced 8s, I guess. So, I mean, depends on the player.
And John Stones turns into like a number 6, a distributor.
Well, as a center back,
Right?
yeah, exactly.
Right. So he's like, they don't even like play traditionally. Like, what's playing traditionally these days?
Mhm.
There's no traditional. It's what you come up with.
Exactly, that's the thing. Like, do positions really matter as much anymore? It's more becoming about the roles a player has to fulfill, like a certain specific role that they have, and yeah. No,
And
I
not
mean,
only that-
I'm open to it. I'm more flexible on formations, whatever.
Right.
Whatever
You do
suits.
4-4-2, and you can play with Angelino, right? Because you have Badish, you have Kerem, and then you have Apo, right? So you don't have to worry about a Turkish player playing. Like, where are we going to put our third player? Have we thought about this? Did we think about this at all? Like, you have Kerem and you have Apo. Who's going to play? You know, Angelino wants to play. Excuse me. He wants to play. That's why he probably came here. He's like, I want guaranteed play time. Where else are you going to put him? Right? You're going to only save him for Champions League? I don't think that's really that viable because he's probably not going to want to stay as a rotation player. So this is why I'm thinking in my mind, maybe 4-4-2 might be the play. And maybe that's why he's, trying 4-4-2 from time to time in these games.
So Barış can start for him.
Yeah, maybe. Or Barış Zaniolo, right? Up top. Bro, that's an insane forward right there. Yasin, I don't know. You might not agree with me. You were saying no, but
I mean, I don't
explain
like
yourself.
the idea. I don't like the idea of Badish there because Badish is not yet a clinical scorer. He's not yet the best decision maker. He's not the best creative player. In fact, I don't think he's that creative at all yet compared to his other strengths. He's not an intelligent player.
There it is.
He won't be the one distributing, though. Think about it. He won't be the one.
So what are you going to do? You're going to leave Badish up top to make the runs behind the defense and then Icardi playing him the ball? I mean, Icardi, you're paying Icardi.
That's what we did last game against Fenerbahce.
I mean, okay, there's going to be a couple instances where, according to the team, you can kind of pick and choose how you want to play it. But overall, you're bringing on a fox in the box like Icardi. You need to have him in the box and the guy that you actually feed the ball to. And when you have Badish there, it makes it a little bit tricky, especially if you have Kerem on the other side, because Kerem doesn't stay where he should be staying as a winger. He gets all over Icardi's ass, in the middle and up top. And look, I'm not complaining. It works, but it's not very structured. And if you're going to play two strikers or you're going to play something similar to a 4-4-2, everything is just going to be mumbo jumbo up there, especially if you have Zaniolo as well, who is kind of like he likes to cut in a lot. He likes to make runs behind the defense, as an inverted right winger. It's very confusing, and maybe that's part of the strategy as well. Some games just confuse the shit out of the defense and just play four guys that just go all over the place. Then who are they going to mark? Then it becomes difficult. But I'd rather have a creative player. That's why we actually skipped over it. We forgot about it. But Kerem Demirbay is rumored with us as well. He plays for Bayer Leverkusen. He's 30 years old. He's a midfielder who's played, number 10 before, but he's more of a number 8, I think. And he has that creative ability. He would count as a Turk, I'm pretty sure, the way that Özil did at the time, even though Kerem is technically a German citizen, but he has Turkish citizenship as well. So that's why, to answer both your questions at the same time, you kind of discussed the idea of who the third Turkish person be. Kerem Demirbay is another name that is cross-referenced. But if we don't get Kerem, it is tough. Emre, I'm not sure. Badish is definitely one of the lead solutions, I think. But I don't know, man.
I honestly think, nah. I'm sorry, Yunus, but I just don't see any spark from him. He's gotten multiple chances, especially in these friendlies. He just provided nothing. Morutsan has provided infinitely more.
Yeah,
I was going to touch up on Morutsan, but Yunus is just completely gone. I don't know. I think he just needs to go and play at Adana because that's where he shined the most and just because it's just not working here. The pressure might just be too high. But what I was gonna say was Kerem. You mentioned Kerem, but one thing about Kerem is that he's not like playing as a traditional winger like Zaniolo is. Kerem likes to go into the midfield and distribute the ball. He has more assists than Mertens and Sergio Oliveira, I think combined, right? So if you think about it, Angelino likes to play as your traditional winger. You can have him kind of substitute going up the field for Kerem, right? So it's a little bit more distributed. And I honestly do think that's going to be one of the main strategies we're going to employ this season, because Okan Buruk is constantly trying to employ that that strategy. Not constantly, but I'm seeing him employ it from game to game.
Yeah, anything's possible. Honestly, I think
like it's worst case scenario.
Yeah, and I think we definitely can see that depending on if we play home or away, if we play against a team that wants to sit back, or if a team that wants to counter. If they're balanced on the field, then we have the space to attack like that. I'm sure we will. Yeah, and anything's a possibility. I don't count it out. I just don't think it would be our main plan, to be honest.
You guys happy about Mortsan? I think he deserves a chance to stay. Like, I want to keep him in the team.
Yeah. So far, yes, but and again, it depends, man. He's in a clogged position, and he definitely has a skill. He has a potential. You can make a solid argument for him to be loaned out again and maybe reach another level of what he could do, because I'm not sure how much chance he's going to get with us. And for a player that we paid a transfer fee for, and that we're trying to pay a even more transfer fee for a player in the same position of Rashica, it might make sense to just
not the same, but yeah,
similar. I don't know. I like him. If he stayed, I'm all for it. It's tough with
because I think Yunus and Yusuf is gone. By the way, I just wanted to put. I think they're gonna leave. So
Yusuf for sure. Yunus, I would like him to leave personally on loan, because I don't think he's gonna get many minutes next season. He hasn't proved it. Yeah, but both those guys haven't had a great preseason so far from what I've seen. Kind of disappointing, to be honest, but you never know, man. Chikaldao is probably out as well.
Forgot about
dude, Chikaldao was the biggest fall from grace I've ever seen in my life, bro.
Yeah,
when he first came, he was actually pretty good. I rated him.
Game? Oh,
yeah.
Yes, bro. After he got COVID, it was just like a complete nosedive. He just completely disappeared, like Casper the Ghost.
And then
he was just not available.
Then he was loaned out to freaking the United
Saudi
Arab
Arabia,
Emirates,
bro.
Or something like that. Where he just chilled. He just smoked shisha every day. Probably something like that. Like, well, what is he gonna do there? Honestly, that's not.
Bro.
See that?
Like, he should have went to Serie B like Mortsan.
Yeah, that was just exactly. A stupid loan offer, honestly.
Like, Mortan actually went to and a good loan move, a club fighting for something actually. But what the fuck was that move, man? I don't know why they did that. Anyway.
Yeah, he's probably gone, bro.
The rumor is he's going to Başakşehir on loan. So that's actually not a bad idea. He wants to stay in Istanbul. He'll remain on a competitive team, and if Başakşehir is loaning him, they'll probably play him. So I think he just needs somewhere he's going to play. Yeah.
Right. One person that I really want to touch up on is Sasha Bowie. Dude, I think Sasha Bowie is like, I don't know this kid started this preseason as he ended the season. There's like literally almost no difference. He's on top of his game, and apparently he's open to staying. So that's pretty big news for us. If we increase his wages, comparable to other players, he says he's open to staying. Whereas, like, instead of losing him and Nelson, we might just lose Nelson. So I'm pretty optimistic about him staying. I'm happy about that. So I don't know. He's improving. I've seen that, like, the way he is doing his crosses, especially, like, it's not the best, but it's still improving, and I'm happy to see that. He's not the best going forward, but he's definitely the best in the league when it comes to defending, in my opinion. So one wing, we have the best defender, best defending wingback, and the other wing, now we have the best attacking wingback. That dynamic there, bro. You can't deny it.
Can't wait to see that, man. Yeah, Bowie was good. Played, I think, 2 friendly games, or maybe 3. I'm not sure about the one that happened a few days ago.
Yeah, I don't want to hype him up just too much. They are friendly games, but he's just like physically a monster.
Yeah, he's really on it. It's really good to see, because that first season, again, he was injured quite a lot. And we did see it in the first few games, but afterwards, he just didn't play as much. But last season, he really stepped up, and I don't want him to leave. Of course, on one hand, when the price is right, at some point you just gotta let him go. But man, can't wait to see him next season once we play in Europe. That's all I have to say.
All right.
Do some questions.
So we got actually a lot of questions this time around. We probably won't get to all of them because this episode will be like 3 hours long at this point. But we will get to the relevant questions first, and we'll do the rest the next episode. Okay. So one of the questions was from Shad at Shad Sharka. He says, "What's the deal with Yusuf Demir? Actual injuries, mental issue? Doesn't get along with Okan Buruk? Saw his father wanted to see him go on loan. Hope they figure out something because he showed a lot of potential." Thank you, Shad, for your question. I think we've touched up on this a little bit, not too much, but honestly, I think it's a mix of everything, because I think Okan Buruk did mention that, injuries, he wanted to play so bad at times, but then he would just get injured and not be able to play. And so I think that affected him mentally as well. But I agree with his dad. He should go on loan. He needs to play, man. He's not getting any play time. The more you play, the better you get. And we see that with Morutsan.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah,
so,
he's only 20, so yes, he needs to play. He's still very young. I don't think it's a lost cause, obviously, due to his age and the talent that he showed before at his previous club, Rapid Vienna, I think, and he was also loaned to Barca, right? But a loan move would be good. The only question then is, what type of club should we loan him to? Would it be in the Super League itself? Would you rather want him to go to a foreign league? Again, probably
foreign league.
Not the highest level, maybe, but you prefer foreign league, and why would that be? If I may ask, why would you prefer that?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, because I feel like there's actually more systems in place outside of Turkey. In Turkey, everyone just plays according to Yallah, just do what you do, and it's like I want him to develop an actual philosophy, right? Where they teach you philosophy. Like Italian league has a philosophy. The La Liga, the Spanish league has a philosophy. German league has a philosophy. English league, philosophy, right? Everyone, there is certain cemented philosophies, right? You go to the English league, everyone presses, bro. The physical, physical wise, they're the best league in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
If you want your player to be physical, want to be in fit, you remember Ozan Tufan before and after he went to Premier League, bro? He's a complete different player, right? So I want that for Yusuf Demir. I don't think he'll improve that much playing in the Turkish league if we want him to excel from the Turkish league.
Also, even if we would loan him to the Turkish league, due to the foreigner rule, maybe he might not even play as often.
Exactly, that's also another issue.
Yeah.
Right, so...
Another issue.
Yasin, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
No, I agree. I think he needs to go on loan, preferably outside of Turkey. La Liga would be quite nice, actually. He's a little bit familiar with it. La Liga teams know that Barcelona was interested and they had him on loan at one time, so there's a little bit of marketability there. But worst case scenario, maybe one of these stumble clubs, like Pendikspor or I don't know, Başakşehir. I don't know if they would be interested. Let's see what happens. All I know for sure is he doesn't have a spot in this team next season.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we send him out somewhere properly, like we did Morutan and Nachikaldao.
But
right, no Saudi league.
Then I also wonder, right, because you say he has no spot, and you probably mean it for the Super League in general. But what if we play in Europe, and let's say we don't make the Champions League and we start in the Conference League, whatever? Wouldn't that be some game time for him, or would you say that's still too little for the first 6 months?
For Yusuf?
Yes, because Conference League.
Bro.
Look, no disrespect, but I assume that if we end up in that, the groups, the teams won't be that high of a quality.
No, man. No.
We'll want to win that cup, bro. What are you talking about?
Yeah, plus Salih, Conference League actually pays a good amount of money. Like it's not Champions League level, but there's actually not there's not a big difference between Conference League and Europa League in terms of like the winnings for if you win a match and whatnot. And it's coefficients are on the line. There's no way you're starting Yusuf there. I don't think that happens. Yeah.
Not over like Rashica or Zaniolo, for example. You know, you're not starting him over them.
Okay. Just
all right.
No, because honestly, there were like a lot of teams when I looked at the Conference League last year and the year before. Like I was like, what the fuck? Where are these clubs even from? You heard like the weirdest names ever. But
West Ham won the Conference League, right? So
in the end, they did. Yeah.
So anything is possible, man, in the Conference League. I imagine most teams will be going for it in the Turkish league that are in it. Like they're gonna aim to win it. So why wouldn't we be aiming to win it too? And I don't know if Yusuf Dim is gonna be the one to win with, Let's go on to the next question from DZ at DZ26. He says he's been looking forward to this tweet. He's asking, what do we think they should do with Efe this season? Do you think Eyüp would be a nice destination for him with Arda as the coach? Thoughts on the season in general? Besides that, hope you guys are feeling fine. Thank you, brother. We're feeling pretty good right now. So I think Efe should definitely be loaned out, bro, because he's one of the players that's not going to get any game time, and we need him to develop because I think he has the most potential out of any of our youth, including his brother, Hamza. So I think he should definitely go to Eyüp or a team that's, again, has a philosophy going on. I don't know how much of a philosophy Arda has. Yas is probably going to object to this. But Arda is a Galatasaray, and he would probably look after him. It's not like Arda doesn't have anything to teach Efe. You probably can teach him a couple of things or two. But in general, I think he does need to be loaned out. And as far as our season in general, if we keep the whole team together, I think we're going to be doing just fine, right? And we will have a special episode or another episode with our thoughts on how it's going to go, what we think will happen in the Champions League, even like a tier list of an episode, right? So
not a chair list?
Not a chair list, a tier list.
Referencing Summit there. He always calls it a chair list.
A chair list. Yeah. Cheer list.
They say,
so Efe to another team, guys. To another team.
Yeah, for sure. If there is actually a team that would be interested in playing consistently, why not? But the last thing I want is to loan out these kids to a garbage team and then they don't even play there. That's terrible for their mentality. They're not learning anything. Playing is the best way to learn a lot of the time. That's why I'm almost for the idea of him just staying here another season with all these really good players around him in training. Given if he's going to actually be in the training with us, like the A-team trainings every day, if he's there, that's a huge learning opportunity for him. Maybe he can play in some cup games. I'm not sure. But like Emin Bayram, for example, 2 seasons at Boluspor, he played consistently. Metehan at Iskenderspor or something like that. I forget. He played a lot there as well. If we can find a team like that for him to play at, great. Eyüpspor is a great mention. I don't know if they want to play him consistently since they're going to be trying to get back into the Super League. They might have aspirations to bring on more guaranteed quality players. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Wait, what do you mean with trying to go? Aren't they already qualified for the Super League? You mean like to stay up, right? What you meant?
No. Eyüpspor?
They're qualified, right? They played like a playoff game, and was it Alpaslan or whatever that scored like a late minute screamer?
No, bro. That was playoffs, and then they lost to one of the other teams, and then they're stuck.
Okay,
in
never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I saw it actually, Pendikspor. And now I also remember the fact that we joked a bit about their stadium, right? Which was like at a capacity of like 600 people or something. 1,000.
It's such a... Dude, that's so dumb, bro. Teams that don't have stadiums should not be in the Super League. I'm sorry, unpopular opinion, but they just shouldn't be in the Super League.
Didn't that happen for one of the Premier League teams too? One of the ones just got promoted.
Luton, yes.
Yeah, I think their stadium is trash too.
I think everyone on TikTok or whatever saw like what the away end as they enter like into a fucking random house, staircase up. You take the stairs up and then you can see into the
Dude,
gardens.
it's so
shit.
funny, bro.
Yeah.
I saw that, dude. It is hilarious.
Yeah, that was really bad, but it's still bigger though than what Pendixspor has.
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah, exactly. Still a stadium, but like,
Well,
Jesus,
man.
man.
This is our Super League version of that.
Karagümrük doesn't even have a stadium, so that's even worse.
mhm.
They've been playing at the Atatürk Olympiads.
I know you said it's unpopular, but I do get it though. Like these Istanbul takımlar with like no fan base, nothing. It feels kind of soulless, right, when you play there, because it's gonna be our fans basically over there. I'd rather have a
Right.
team with a bit of a history, like a Göztepe, for example,
Bursaspor,
Bursa,
Göztepe,
yeah.
Eskişehir,
Altay.
bro.
stuff like that.
Altay.
Yeah, would be cooler.
It's a shame, bro. These teams, bro. I love going to, like teams that like
Have
you were
culture.
like not scared of, culture that you were like intimidated by somewhat because they had the like chance to beat you because they had crazy atmosphere.
yeah.
They usually had decent teams. Like Bursaspor became champions, bro.
Mhm.
You know, it's like they're the Leicester of this. They're literally the Leicester of this this country. Leicester got demoted. They got demoted. They won the
Mhm.
championship. Leicester won it. Damn, bro. The coincidence is crazy.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Just quickly on the loan, very briefly. Like Yasin said too, though, I do wonder like how quickly do you want to loan out a player that is, how old was he again? 16, 17? Would be actually great to have John on here as a youth coach. What's sensible for like little kids to do. On
Right.
the Arda part, again, like tactics wise, etc. I'm not too sure, of course, but it is true though. In the end, he's also our youth product, right? And I assume that if you would loan a player like him to Ibspor, he would be in good hands. That's at least my assumption. I don't think Arda will do us dirty.
Right.
Um,
And Spor is like
Half of
Galatasaray
Galatasaray anyway.
2.0.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it wouldn't hurt for him to go to Spor. All right.
We'll see.
Yasin, you have anything else to add to that before we
No,
get
no.
to our final question?
Nope.
Okay. So this is from FB'nin kocası at Fenerli 237788565. Nice handle there, bud. He's asking, where is the water of Floria? Thank you for your question, guys. Where is the water of Floria?
That was the announcement video, right? By
Yeah. Angelino.
By Angelino.
Angelino. Yeah, I know.
Angelino.
I
Yeah,
like that.
that's been a nice little like meme slash saying for a while now, right? Like player comes here and they just turn out so much better. Everybody's happier, this, that, and they attribute it to the water of Floria. It's kind of nice that they had a bunch of player do that for once because I guess he wanted to come here so bad. He knew about the Florida's water, so he wanted to come.
That's funny.
Yeah, who knows?
That's funny
Who knows where that is, man? But I know Okan Buruk knows since he's a youth product here. So once again, great decision to bring a coach on who knows the ins and outs of the club. I think that really says a lot about our success last season.
Yeah, yeah. Where's the water of Floria? It's the water that flows through your heart. That's where it is, guys. Right? It's the blood that flows through your heart. You know, we have become Therapy SK. So
I really don't mind that, by the way. Really,
me
really
neither,
cool.
bro. It's really good that we've actually got this. It shows players that okay, Galatasaray are known to take players that have been looked down upon or thrown out from the squad and make them better again,
Mhm.
make them whole. Right? So I
Nice
like
niche
that.
to have. Nice niche to have.
Exactly.
It would be funny if more clubs start to think like, maybe we should just send him to Galatasaray, fix him up, and then, take him back or try to sell him again. I don't know, stuff like that. It's cool.
Exactly. Yes, it.
Yeah.
What do you think? Where's the
About-
water Floria?
Like I said, man, I'm not sure where it is, but I know Okan Buruk knows. I don't really have an answer for that one.
Wow. Okay. Lame.
Yeah, I'm gonna be lame on that one. You guys answered pretty fine.
All right. So do you guys have any other questions that you guys want to take? Because I feel like there's a lot of questions that we can leave for the next episodes. Yasin, do you have one before we wrap this up?
No, I mean, on Discord, Colossal asked us, who do we expect to fill our backup striker role? Your personal thoughts on Nelson being sold or keeping the team together for a Champions League run? I think we answered both these questions in a way during the episode. Striker role, backup, most likely looking to be
Bakambu.
along with Halil / Barish probably. And then in terms of Nelson specifically, that's a good question. I think if we're going to sell anybody this season, it's going to be Nelson. There's a lot of debate on Sacha and Nelson both having interest, if we should sell both or one. I think both of them haven't got the interest that we were looking for or expected. So at that point, it's like, okay, if you sell Nelson for 20 to 23 million, is it worth it? How much is it going to cost to find his replacement? And I think keeping is the best option there. Emre kind of touched on it before, saying, you want to keep as many people together for next season. Okan Buruk, the coach himself, said the same thing. He's dependable. He knows the team in and out. He knows how to play with Abdulkarim. Maybe it might be smart to keep him another season and see how he does in Europe. I think that'll only increase his value as long as he doesn't drop off the face of the earth, because he's just on an upward trajectory. However, I would probably sell him over Sacha if we had to, because I think the jump that Sacha could make this year at that age in Europe would be much more than what Nelson would do at this age, and given what we've seen from him for a couple seasons now. So
Yeah. Salih, you have anything to add?
No, not much to add. Between the two, again, that was not exactly the question, but between the two, I also believe that Sasha is just easier to turn a profit on in general, and given his age, I assume we're making more money on him. Because again, we bought him for 1 million, right? And according to Samet back then, when he was still part of the pod, I mean, still is, but he hasn't been here for a while. Rogon was giving all these shitty players to Fener, but we got the 1 gem. And Nelson, we bought for quite a bit more. I think it was 6 or 7. I think we should just keep him. Also I should say, sell him compared to Nelson. Bowie. Whoa, I'm really fucking up here. Also, I think money-wise, like his contract is like until 2026, a bit longer than Bowie. So in terms of that, we should be able to get a bit more money. But then again, how much would be okay? That's the question. I think we should just keep him until someone just hits the release clause. Because I don't think there's really a reason to sell him. I don't see how it would suddenly become worse. He's still 24. That's really young for a center back. He seems happy here. He's dependable. So just keep him, man. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So I'll just add a quick note. Nelson was asked to stay last season because he wanted to leave, right? So that might not be possible for him to stay at the current moment. Right now, the only offers that I know of is from Tottenham, and they want to give us like 17, 18 plus bonuses, and one of the bonuses being they become champions. Basically, we'll never see that bonus.
Did they really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what I read about. Not confirmed, but one of the bonuses, whatever is like involved. What Galatasaray are trying to do right now is try to get 17 plus their defender Sanchez. So again, rumors, nothing concrete. But we'll give you guys more updates on that because we don't know exactly what's going on. We haven't gotten a Fabrizio. Here we go message yet. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean,
still just one note, right? It's still so weird to think that a championship winning defender at his age is not able to get like a proper bid, but our neighbors, some Hungarian defender that I know Yasin praised back in the day, is able to get like a bid very close to it while, conceding goals left and right.
Like that. Right. And the players the fans that all want him gone, basically. It's a lot of things that go behind, closed doors that we don't know about. And we know how some teams are, it's not unexpected. Like I said, we get our money, we get our money through other avenues, other means, and our success, Meanwhile, other people try to get their success from other avenues, like making up, fake championships and such. It's okay.
Yeah, speaking of that, we I mean for next time, but we should also talk about stuff like that, like the
Right, we will.
Recognition maybe of like championships of before 1959. Talking about revenue, all the sponsors that we've got, our stadium name, which is supposedly going to change or has already changed, I'm not sure. Stuff like
Rams
that.
Global. We'll give you guys more details. There's a lot to go over, so we couldn't get to most of them, but we'll try to get to more our next episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we'll try to get more of the guys on too. So it's mainly been me, Yasin, and Salih. So yeah, you guys content with this episode?
Yeah. I thought it was good. We tackled a lot of good news, a couple of friendlies, and I'm sure it's going to get just even more exciting once Icardi becomes official, hopefully, and we see what else is up Erden's sleeve in the upcoming weeks and months. So stay tuned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. This was a good episode. It's good to be back with the boys. Hope everyone that's listened this far has had a good day. Thank you for listening. We appreciate your guys' support. You guys are always asking for new episodes. We love to see you guys so enthusiastic. So this has been episode 59 of The Lion's Den, a Galatasaray podcast done by the community for the community. We love you guys. Stay safe and peace out.
Bye.